Codenames, how to play. The object of the game is to be the first team to find all your agents. Setup. Split into 2 teams of 2 or more players each. Shuffle the codename cards and lay out 25 of them on the table in a 5x5 grid. Each team picks 1 player to be their spymaster. The 2 spymasters sit next to each other while their teammates sit across the table. The spymasters draw 1 key card randomly and slide it into the stand between them. Any side can be up. Only the spymasters are allowed to see it. Give each spymaster a set of colored agent tiles. The key card corresponds to the grid of codename cards on the table, indicating which words correspond to which team. Blue words are for the blue team, and red are for the red team. Pale squares are neutral, and black squares indicate the word that, if it is picked, your team loses the game immediately. The 4 lights on the edge of the key card indicate which team starts. The starting team has 9 words to guess, and the other has 8. Give the starting team the double-sided color agent tile. The starting spymaster gives a 1-word clue followed by a number, and then their teammates guess. Then, the other spymaster takes a turn. Play continues to alternate until there is a winner. To give a clue, you may only say 1 word followed by 1 number. The word is a clue to the words on the board, and the number is referring to how many words on the board that clue applies to. For example, tree 2. The spymaster may not say the word on any card face up on the table, or say any number of other words to give any sort of clue. After a clue is given, the spymaster must keep a straight face and sealed lips as their teammates try to figure out the words to guess. Teammates indicate their official guess when they touch one of the cards on the table. At such a point, their spymaster covers up the card by the corresponding colored tile. If the tile is that team's color, then the teammates can guess again. If the tile is the opponent's or the neutral color, then their turn ends immediately. If the tile is black, then that team loses the game. Teammates must always make at least 1 guess. If they guess correctly, they may guess again if they like, so long as the total number of guesses does not exceed the number plus 1 that their spymaster said in his clue. So, if the spymaster said tree 2, the most guesses his teammates would have is 3. If a spymaster gives an invalid clue, that team's turn ends immediately. Additionally, the other team places one of their colored tiles on any one of their words. Your clue must be about the meaning of the words. You can't use your clue to talk about the letters in the word or a position on the table. Gland is not a valid clue for England. You can't tie bug, bed, and bow together with a clue like B3, nor with a clue like 3-3. However, letters and numbers are valid clues as long as they refer to meanings. You can use 8-3 as a clue for ball, figure, and octopus. The number you say after your clue can't be used as a clue. You must play in English. A foreign word is allowed only if the players in your group would use it in an English sentence. You can't say any form of a visible word on the table. Until break is covered up by a card, you can't say break, broken, breakage, or breakdown. You can't say any part of a compound word on the table. Same sounding words with different meanings and different spellings are considered different words. So you can't give night-related clues for night. Words that are spelled the same are considered the same even though they might have different pronunciations and meanings. For example, actors take a bow, and the bow is a part of a ship. So you could use bow as a clue for theater and ship. You could also use it as a clue for archery-related things, even though that bow and bow are pronounced differently. You are allowed to spell out your clue. For example, if you want your teammates to guess theater and string, you can spell out B-O-W without committing to a pronunciation. You should spell out your clue if someone asks. If you aren't that strong of a speller, ask the opposing spymaster for help. England and island were originally compound words, but in this century, island is a valid clue for England. Even land is a valid clue for England, and anybody who says you can't say sparrow when row is on the table is just trying to cause trouble. If the opposing spymaster allows it, the clue is valid. If you aren't sure, ask the opponent quietly so the others can't hear. Sometimes you have to make judgment calls about what is valid and what is not. Different groups may prefer to play the game differently. English has 3 ways to write a compound word. Greenhouse is 1 word. Pack rat is 2 words. Mother-in-law is hyphenated. Technically, only greenhouse can be a 1-word clue. You can decide to allow any compound words. However, in no case should a player be allowed to invent compound words. Proper names are always valid clues if they follow the other rules. Your group can agree to count proper names as 1 word. This would also allow titles such as the 3 Musketeers. Even if you don't allow multi-word proper names, you might want to make an exception for place names like New York. Spymasters should not be allowed to make up names, not even names that turn out to be real. Sue me is not a valid clue for China and lawyer. Technically, CIA is not 1 word, but it is a great clue. You can decide to allow common abbreviations like UK, LOL, and PhD, and words like laser, radar, and sonar are always allowed, even though they originated as acronyms. Some people prefer to allow a more liberal use of homonyms. You can allow night to be a clue for night-related things if that makes the game more fun for you. Rhymes are always valid when they refer to meanings. Snail is a valid clue for male because this rhyme is a common phrase. Snail is also a valid clue for whale because they are both animals. Snail is not a valid clue for scale because their main association is through the sound of the words. Some people like to allow any kind of rhyming clue. If you decide to allow this, just remember that you aren't allowed to indicate that you are giving a rhyming clue. You are allowed to use 0 as the number part of your clue. For example, feathers 0 means none of our words relate to feathers. If 0 is the number, the usual limit on the guesses does not apply. Your teammates can guess as many words as they want. They still must guess at least 1 word. Sometimes you may have multiple unguessed words related to clues from previous rounds. If you want your team to guess more than one of them, you may say unlimited instead of a number. For example, feathers unlimited. The disadvantage is that your teammates do not know how many words are related to the new clue. The advantage is that they can correctly guess as many words as they want. The first team to get all their colored agent tiles on the board wins. If there are only 2 of you, you can play on the same team. This 2-player variant also works for larger groups of people who do not feel like competing against each other. You will try to get a high score against a simulated opponent. Set up the game as usual. 1 player will be the spymaster and the rest will be teammates. The other team has no players, but you will still need their stack of agent cards. Your team should go first, so pick an appropriate key card. Play your turns as usual. The spymaster simulates the enemy team by covering up 1 of their words each time they get a turn. The spymaster gets to choose which word is covered. If your team uncovers the assassin, or if all the enemy agents are placed, you lose. There is no score. If your team wins, however, give yourself a score based on how many agent cards are still left in the enemy's stack. If you have 3 players and 2 players want to compete against each other, they can be spymasters and the 3rd player can be their shared teammate. Set up the game and play as usual, except that the remaining player is working for both sides, trying to do a good job for both spymasters.